Hey everyone, Nubkeks here, and welcome to a very requested video in the last couple of days. This is my tier list updated for 2017 Season 1, the season that came with the Probius patch that you guys are probably already diving into right now. We're about a day into it over here in EU. I sat down yesterday and I played it all day. I'm going away next week, so I need to stock up some videos. So I played about 30 matches, and I want to give you guys my insight into how the meta stands right now. There's been some pretty actually significant changes, I would say. Also where the new reworks fit, where Probius fits, all of that goodness. So let's go into it. Let's go into the Warriors. Oh, by the way, thank you very much to, I'm probably saying the name wrong, but Santu, who, one of the viewers here, one of the subscribers, just like you guys, and he helped me out by actually designing and building this tier list application, which is amazing. I think it looks much better than the old Photoshop thing I had to do, kind of tabbing in and out so we can like flick through, got buttons to move them around and everything. I think it looks really good. And yeah, we're going to be using this from now on. So anyway, without any further ado, let's get into the Warriors. So the Warriors, I think, still overall in a very good spot. Warriors are very strong in the game right now, and there's a ton of viable warriors. To go over the tiers as well, just in case you are new to this, and sometimes people do get a little bit confused about what the tiers exactly mean. Tier 2 is okay. Tier 2 heroes they're just fine. They're solid. They're fine. If someone picks a tier 2 hero, I kind of go, oh, okay, we could have had one of these better ones, but it's okay, we can work with it. Tier 1 is good. These are typically the heroes that you'll be fighting over most often. They're very strong. There's a lot of situations where they're fantastic. Tier S, they're the OP heroes. These are the ones that are often going to be banned away, are picked up very early on in the draft, and I think these make a very large impact. They really define the game and how you're going to play it. And then we've got Tier 3, unfortunately, the underpowered heroes that you really don't ever want to pick in ranked, and you feel pretty upset and sad if you see someone pick it on your team. I'm very happy if it's on the enemy team. So with Warriors, in Tier S then we have ETC, Nubkeks, and Sonya. So I think the big rework here, of course, is Nubkeks, who got changed quite a bit in the patch. It's interesting. He was already, I think, really strong. I think actually somewhat underrated in the previous patch. So he's got slightly less spell armor now. However, in return, his burrow charge was pretty massively buffed. It applies a slow now, which is quite nice. Then it has a much reduced cooldown, which helps him being aggressive, helps him chasing, all that sort of stuff. I think Nubkeks is really strong. He's also fantastic against a lot of the popular ranged assassins, like Li Ming. It's just such a pain to play against. I'm always talking about that. I don't talk about it enough because I lost the game because I picked Li Ming. I was like, this is great. This draft's going perfect. I fit so well. Forgot to ban a Nubkeks in the second ban phase, and then what do you know? They picked a Nubkeks, and suddenly it went from being the perfect Li Ming game to an absolutely horrible one. I was kicking myself afterwards. I think we lost it in the end. Yeah, Nubkeks very, very strong. ETC, of course, I think still the best overall main tank. 2 great heroics, everything like that. Sonya as well is also underrated, like a Nubkeks. I think both these heroes are very underrated and not used as much as they should be. But Sonya's very strong in the solo lane. She's very strong at doing mercs and everything like that. Can be very tanky and do quite a bit of damage in the team fight. I also think Leap Sonya in particular is incredibly underrated. I've seen maybe 1 or 2 guys play Leap Sonya and been massively effective with it. So I'd highly recommend Leap Sonya to be something that we check out a bit more in this patch. But yeah, I think these 3 warriors are the strongest overall. Now, following just only a little bit further behind, really. Only a bit further behind. Still very close to that power level. We've got all the good heroes. We have Dehaka, Muradin, Tyrael. I'll come back to him in a second. Arthas, I'll come back to him as well. Diablo, Zarya, and Leoric. So not too much has changed. Honestly, here in Dehaka, I've moved down from OP. I just find like he's a good solid laner. He doesn't typically seem to win the lane that much anymore though. He's just kind of there and he brings global presence and he's nice and he's strong. But I definitely think the nerfs are actually pretty good. I think he's fairly balanced actually. The nerfs to his W build were quite reasonable, really toned down all the damage he was bringing to a much more acceptable level. I think he's very, very good, but I don't think he's OP anymore. Muradin, especially with the nerf of Varian, remains, I would say, kind of the other main tank, who's very strong. Let's talk about Tyrael and Arthas, who got reworks, right? So Tyrael got spell armor. Actually, this is worth noting. Armor is an incredibly huge buff every time it's given. Armor is insanely good, right? Oftentimes they make a new hero, or they rework a hero, they reduce their max HP and give them armor in return. It's nearly always a huge buff. Because as soon as you add on any form of support who's giving healing, that armor just multiplies in value. It's so good, right? So yeah, all the heroes that given armor, look at that as being a very large buff. For example, I saw people saying Varian was nerfed, reducing his max HP a bit, but giving him 15 armor. I said no, I think that actually is quite a big buff to Varian. Or I don't think it's enough to make him good tier yet. But yeah, Tyrael got spell armor, lost some talents. So Tyrael is now actually significantly better, probably, I would say, up until level from 1 to 12. Now, he's missing out opposing will at 13, which is a pretty big nerf, unfortunately. And then he doesn't get Hardened Shield anymore at 20, which is also a big nerf. Now, level 20, you often don't even reach level 20 in Hero League, so that's not the biggest deal. It's like losing Imposing Will versus gaining 15 spell armor. How does it balance out? I think, honestly, Tyrael's going to be about the same power level. Now that I've seen him kind of in action and played it a bit myself, I think he's going to be about the same power level. I don't think it's a major change to him. I don't think he's like, some people are saying like rip Tyrael, Tyrael is dead. I definitely don't think so. I think the change is actually fine overall. It's Judgment got buffed as well, and I actually saw Judgment Tyrael and it was good. But yeah, Tyrael is I think he's pretty much just as strong as he was before. It's not too much of a difference. So yeah. Arthas then. Arthas is pretty cool. It's really interesting to me about Arthas. I also felt like Arthas was pretty underrated before. We even saw in the Western Clash that Team Dignitas was running Arthas all the time. They ultimately won the entire Western Clash using Arthas quite frequently as sort of second tank and solo laner. Now he's a bit worse. That's the interesting thing about Arthas, right? He's a bit worse, I would say, at solo laning because he's got less wave clear. So that's something to consider. His wave clear, they nerfed the damage of his Frozen Tempest. It's quite a bit weaker now. So you got a lot less wave clear than you would have before. In return, you have a lot more control, more crowd control with your E, your Frozen Tempest. It stacks up quicker, applies an attack speed slow. I think Arthas is in a very good spot. He's very good against Greymane, actually. That's something I found in the games I've played so far. He's also very good against Artanis. Basically, any sort of melee hero that is dependent on attack speed, he's very, very strong against. Probably like the Butcher as well. Anything kind of like that. So Arthas is quite good. I'm still not yet 100% sure how he's going to fit into the meta. Is he good enough to like frequently be a main tank? Or do you run him as a second warrior? How does that work? What compositions does it work in? I feel like there's a bit still to be discovered about how Arthas works. But for the moment, I'm pretty impressed with him and how he works. We got Diablo and Zarya. They're still pretty much the same. It could even move Zarya up a bit, perhaps. And I put up Leoric, actually, in this tier list. And the reason is I feel like Leoric, at the moment, what does he bring? He's a very good solo laner. And I feel like Leoric is very good at solo laning against a lot of the popular solo laners right now. So I have played and won as Leoric fairly easily against, in this patch, Arthas, Ragnaros. They're two very popular ones. I think he's probably pretty decent against Sonya. He'd be good against a Nubkeks. He'd win that as well. I think Leoric just seems to... I think he beats Tyrael too. He seems to be very, very good against just a lot of the heroes that are popular right now in terms of the solo lanes. He might lose to Falstad, I would think, probably, but I'm not super sure. But anyway, he's very good at solo lane. He's very, very safe because of his E. He can escape out, and hey, if he dies, he respawns quicker than most heroes, and he respawns in the lane. So yeah, I think that Leoric is definitely underrated, and because it's mostly because of the matchups, right? It's because of the heroes that are typically in solo lanes at the moment, and he beats most of them. That's why I'm kind of valuing Leoric very highly, and I think he's very, very strong at that. In the OK tier over here then, I moved Artanis down. People are asking, like, why is Artanis kind of moving down your tier list and everything like that? It's because of the meta changing. So part of this patch, of course, is that Arthas is there. Arthas is very, very good against Artanis now. When Artanis was first reworked, he was OP because suppression pulls. And we were going into a meta with Bloodlust, with Raynor, with Thrall Earthquake. That was like the meta. It was like those heroes. It was all about locking people down and then just like this crazy basic attack team comp. It's not that anymore. So suppression pulse loses a lot of value. But yeah, he's definitely okay. I just don't think he's super dominant. Like, he's not as good in the solo lane as a lot of other heroes are. People are a bit more used to the flips now and the swaps. I think he's still okay. I think he's still decent, but he's not like super powerful, I wouldn't think. I wouldn't be rushing out to first pick Artanis in any of my games. I'd much rather be picking up, Sonya or Nubkeks or ETC first, of course, before him, long before him. Johanna got reworked too with armor. I think she's better. She's slightly lacking in control and everything like that, but she's a pretty solid option overall. Varian got armor 2. I still think, again, he lacks kind of mobility and lockdown. And if people do disagree with me on this one, so bear that in mind. But I don't value Varian that much anymore. I don't value him that much anymore. I feel like he's just a bit too... he brings a single target, like, taunt. But that's kind of it. And then he's, like, very tanky. I'm just not impressed with Varian as a tank anymore. I personally think Colossus Smash Varian is incredibly strong. Not necessarily OP, but very strong. I think that's actually the better Varian build right now. I'll talk about that when we get to the melee assassins. But yeah, and we got Chen, kind of the opposite of Leoric in that he's, a quintessential solo laner who doesn't work that well into matchups anymore. Like Ragnaros just kind of owns him. Sonya probably does as well. I don't know. I have seen very little Chen, but he's failed every time I've seen him. So not a fan of Chen. Rexar is a decent solo laner too. Stitches and then Show. I mean, I feel like if you're picking a solo laner, you really want to be going for like Sonya or Leoric, probably more so, because they tend to... I feel like they win the lanes more than the others ones do. Like, Rexar is just kind of there. He could be good on like Braxis and stuff like that. But yeah, Cho'Gall, by the way. Cho'Gall sucks. Don't pick Cho'Gall. They suck. Not only are you fighting with the disadvantage of playing with a stranger in Hero League, but also the hero seems to be nerfed pretty hard, and I would not recommend Cho'Gall at all. Let's go over to supports. OP for supports, Tassadar, Lucio, Malf, and Rhaegar. A lot of OP supports. I feel like these four in particular are incredibly strong right now, and they have a massive impact on the game. Tassadar, why is Tassadar so good? I think Tassadar actually is one of those heroes that's only really good at higher levels of play, apparently. I don't know. But yeah, Tassadar is just insane. The main thing that he does is, not only does he bring wave clear and he's got a good teamfight presence himself, but he enables a lot of the ranged assassins. Ranged assassins are in a pretty rough spot, and he makes some of those be really, really good. So that's part of why he's so strong. Is that ranged assassins are pretty weak, and he's just this massive enabler with his shields. Lucio, I would actually rate as probably my top main healer, though he did get nerfed a bit in the patch. I think it was a stealth nerf. It wasn't in the patch notes properly. He has been nerfed slightly. I think that's good, because Lucio was definitely OP. I think he's still OP. I think he's still probably overall the best healer right now, in Hero League in particular. But yeah, he's super strong. Does a lot of healing. The mobility is great, and then sound barrier is just awesome. Malf, still really good as well. He brings so many tools: cleanse, ice block, scouting drones, big AoE silence. The root's not as strong as they used to be. So Malf has definitely fallen down a little bit, but he's still up there. And then Rhaegar is the other like healer that I think is very, very dominant right now. Brings tons of damage, great healing as well. Great at murking and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, there's Rhaegar. In good then, we've got Kharazim and Oriel. So Kharazim not that far behind these guys. Brings great mobility. Oriel then, she also combos very well with some of these ranged assassins. And can work well with those, though she can be countered a bit more easy. Lack of cleanse is something of a problem there. At least he gets cleanse at 16. Then we got Morales, Brightwing, and Tyrande is okay, and then Uther and Lily is underpowered. You wouldn't want to ever pick these guys. You're mostly going to be fighting over the OP supports. You're going to see these in... You should be picking these in like 80% of the time, and there'll often be bans directed at these ones. And then sometimes you'll be picking up Oriel because she synergizes well with the ranged assassins that you have, like Gul'dan or Vala or something like that. And then you'll be picking up Kharazim often when these ones are banned or taken away, and you need like Earth Ally or Air Ally is quite important to have. So yeah, there you go. Melee assassins then. Zeratul and Ragnaros are OP. Still, in my opinion, Ragnaros is a great solo laner, great team fighter. Zeratul is just horrific to play against. So I play ranged assassins mostly, and I hate... There's nothing worse than like a good maybe a good Tracer player, but a good Zeratul player is just nightmare. I hate it so much. It's awful. Yeah, such a powerful hero. Great at just blowing up squishies. VP is crazy. Just insane hero. Illidan, actually, I feel like has come back into the meta quite a bit. I think Illidan is in a pretty decent spot at the moment, doing well into the sort of comps that are around. The mobility is great. And yeah, I think like the other assassins being fairly weak definitely helps him out. We got Greymane as well, who's up there. Bear in mind, these guys are probably both very weak against Arthas, so I'd watch out for that. Where Thrall is as well. Maybe Rag, I don't know. Interesting. I haven't played melee assassins into Arthas, funnily enough. But yeah, Greymane is also very strong, does good damage, pretty good wave clear with the cocktail build, good poke. Cursed Bullet is nice for some blow up. Greymane's in a pretty good spot overall. As well, people freak out and say he's a ranged assassin. He's both, really. He's probably more ranged assassin at the moment, but we've got more ranged assassins than melee, so that's why I stick him in here. I'd still put him in tier 1 over there as well. Kerrigan is here as well. And then Colossus Smash Varian, actually. Fury Varian is terrible. At certainly higher levels of play, it's garbage. Colossus Smash is where it's at. You go WWW, Colossus Smash. That's the build, right? All the parry talents, Colossus Smash. You're very tanky. It's just annoying. It's just really freaking annoying because he jumps in, he makes you vulnerable, which is annoying in of itself. He slows you down with charge, which is annoying. And then he's got like, you can have up to 3 charges of parry, like right in a row, if Live by the Sword procs and stuff. And it's just protected for ages. He's a pain in the ass more than anything. So I don't know. I'm rating him as good because of that. It's like this big pain in the ass to play against. It can be very strong at like baking, like I was playing in my promotion game, the Grandmaster last season. I was playing Diablo, going up against Colossus Smash Varian, and I was like, damn, he Colossus smashes you and you just die. Suddenly all of your tankiness is gone, basically. It's very intimidating to play against. And, you know, it's like, oh, we can't really lock him down and focus him because he just pops parry and isn't protected. Yeah. So I think Colossus Smash Variant is actually quite good right now. Haven't seen much of it, but I think it's actually quite good. Now, the weakness, of course, is that you lose like a good sort of solo laner and a good early game presence, which typically other melee assassins do bring. And okay, we've got Valeera, Butcher, and Thrall. I think they're all okay. They all have, obviously, I think, pretty obvious weaknesses. But they're okay. You can run them, and it's not the end of the world. I think Alarak and Samuro are pretty bad at the moment. I think they get countered very easily. I don't think they shine. I think Alarak is, you know, if you play a perfect Alarak, it's like, yeah, okay, he's a good, solid hero. But why would you bother doing that when you can pick, like, another warrior or a different melee assassin, and then you don't have to play, like, this perfect, like, this pixel-perfect skill shot game, and then you might even be more effective. I think he's underpowered right now. Not a fan of Alarak at all. And then Samuro as well. I think, you know, Arthas, Kael'thas, there's so many heroes that are just insanely strong against this guy. He's really good at doing mercs, but that's kind of about it. It's like his team fighting's not that great. His solo laning is pretty terrible. It's just, yeah, you're losing out on a lot of stuff with bringing Samuro. So I wouldn't pick either of these at the moment. And I probably wouldn't pick these guys much either. But these ones I think are all pretty good. Ranged Assassins then. Ranged Assassins, as you can see by the lack of OP ones, I feel like Ranged Assassins are in a pretty rough spot. They're fairly weak. I mean, if we just look at these very quickly, I think Gul'dan and Jaina haven't been nerfed. But Vala, Tracer, Li Ming, Faust, and Zul'jin, I think all within the course of the last season, all got nerfed. So did Raynor. So did Tychus. Kael'thas is jumbled around all over the place all the time. I can't remember. But yeah, as you can see, most of these guys have been nerfed pretty hard. Now, tying in with Tassadar, if you have Tassadar on your team, this is why I have Tassadar raised the #1 support. If you have Tassadar, Vala and Tracer become OP. That's part of why Tassadar is so strong. He makes those heroes so much stronger. They're both very mobile, they can do tons of damage, but they're incredibly squishy and can be bursted down. Well, hey, what do you know? Tassadar throws shields on them all the time. Not only does it give them extra like HP to absorb damage, but they also heal from the shield as well because of the damage they do with their basic attacks. They just become OP. So that's why Tassadar is so strong. So with Tassadar, I think Tracer and Vala become OP. I'm loving Gul'dan at the moment. Gul'dan is amazing. He brings great wave clear, great teamfight damage. Horrify is great. He's also very tanky for a ranged damage dealer, which is nice. You can get Fell Armor at level 13. Gives you 40 spell armor whenever you hit Q for 2.5 seconds. That's fantastic. So yeah, I think like these two kind of stand out. Li Ming is also very solid overall. Falstad too. Again, one of the things, it's like, it's funny because so many of these very good ranged assassins at the moment have terrible win rates in Hero League. Why? Because they are very difficult to play right now. I've had a couple of comments going like, oh well, ranged assassins are hard to play. They are. If you think they're not, then you're wrong. Like I don't understand how you can sit down, look and go, well, let me see. So, okay, all these are the ones that are typically played in pro play, yet in Hero League they've got really bad win rates, yet they've got good win rates in pro play. What could be going on? Maybe it's the skill levels of the players. That's the explanation. That's the simplest explanation. I think it also happens to be the right explanation. They're very difficult to play at a good level. To get the most out of these heroes, it is hard at the moment because they've all been nerfed quite a bit. But yeah, these are the ones I would rate as being particularly strong. Again, once you get Tassadar, I think Vala and Tracer become super OP. Zul'jin's a funny one that I haven't seen much play of, but he's got a great win rate, so I'll respect that and put him up here. And we got the OK heroes. I'm not super sure about these three, to be honest with you. They see very little play, so I'm not sure. I think they're okay, but I don't know for 100% sure. These three are certainly good, solid heroes that you're well able to pick and you can do very well on. Like Chromie, very good at Braxis holdout, for example. Yeah, and then Gall, of course. Oh, this tier 3 underpowered is actually broken. Whoops. But yeah, Gall is very weak. Cho'Gall is just very weak. You don't want to play them. But yeah, they're the ranged assassins. You're very much kind of picking to fit the needs of your team and what the enemy team can do. That's another problem with ranged assassins right now. Is that because they're all kind of like just moderate power level, it's like it becomes very important that you understand the draft and that you're picking and counter picking well and creating good compositions, which is obviously that's another level of strategy and game knowledge that's required to pull that off, which drags their win rates down a bit more. So yeah, there you go. Then it's specialists. Finally, I have Nazeebo up as OP. New hero Probius, underpowered. Don't play him. He's terrible. In tier 1 then, I've got Sergeant Hammer, Sylvanas, Lost Vikings, and Medivh. I think all very good heroes. Do really nice things. Medivh probably stands out as having a terrible win rate and everything. And only really works in, I would say, very higher level play where people use the portals well. You can counter so much damage with Force of Will. You can make plays with Leyline Seal. I think at top levels of play, Medivh is great. I would say anything below, like either like a master player who mains Medivhs or grandmaster player, I probably wouldn't look at Medivh as being any much use at all. So yeah, if you're like just a standard Medivh player in master, diamond, platinum, all the way down, I probably wouldn't be picking him. He's probably underpowered in those circumstances. Then okay, we've got Azmodan, Zul, Gazlo rework, Zagara, Abathur, and Murky. So I think all these heroes they're okay. They're solid enough. You can pick them. None of them shine. I believe as well, similarly to Medivh, I think actually Gazlo will do better in lower levels than in higher levels. So that might be something to watch out for. I don't know. He might be very, very strong in the lower leagues right now. I'm not sure because I haven't played in the lower leagues. But yeah, that's one to watch out for sure. And then the rest I think are fairly self-explanatory. And yeah, there you go. Again, we'll just flick through this real quick. So here we go. We've got the Warriors. Warriors in a great spot right now. I feel like, you've got like a massive pool. Really, apart from Cho, nearly all the Warriors can be picked and do fairly well. So that's a pretty good thing to see. These ones are more niche, I would say, and then these ones are very, very good. I think Anubarak is one to watch as being extremely strong. And then Leoric is a great solo laner right now. The new Arthas is fantastic. Tyrael, not as bad as people probably think. And yeah, probably Anub and Sonya being a bit underrated. Then in supports, we have Tassar, Lucio, Malf, and Regars being OP. They're the ones that you're really going to be fighting over most of the time. I mean, each team gets one solo support. And then, manipulating your team's bans, like you pretty often get like, it's mostly going to be these three supports are going to be the main healers. Certainly in the games I've played, Tassadar has been banned in about 90% of them. So yeah, Tassadar's nearly always banned at top level at the moment because of how he enables the ranged assassins in particular. So you're going to typically see these three being fought over. I mean, if Tassadar is one of the bans, yeah, these are going to be fought over very much. You're going to see Kharazim and Oriel sometimes when they fit the comps very well, or when these ones do get banned or picked away for some reason, or they don't fit the comps in those unusual circumstances. Then you got the weaker healers that you don't see that often, but can be good in some circumstances, like Morales and Braxis, very strong. Brightwing, if you desperately need a global for some reason, or you want to like a gank, maybe she combos pretty well. Zeratul set up some ganks. That could work really well too. Tyrande can be good on BOE. She can be good on like Tomb of Spider Queen, interrupting stuff Terrace do maybe. The blow up thing that she does, with the stuns and the vulnerability can be okay. And then Uther and Lily almost never going to see because they're very weak. And finally, we got melee assassins and ranged and specialist. So melee assassins, finally, whoops, is Zeratul and Ragnaros. I think these two are OP right now. Then you got Illidan, Greymane, Kerrigan, and Varian, Colossus Smash Varian in particular, who are good solid heroes that you probably see quite a bit of play on. Colossus Smash Varian maybe being a bit underrated. Again, it's difficult to say 100% for sure because you got the annoyance factor versus does he actually win the games, or is he just really annoying and frustrating to deal with? But does that actually translate into wins? I'm not 100% sure, but it seems pretty strong to me. Basically, the full W build, the full parry build with Colossus Smash makes you very tanky. You do a lot of damage, and it's just super annoying. Then we got Valeera, Butcher, and Thrall, who are okay. You're not going to see much play at all. And then you got Alarak and Samuro, who I think are underpowered and see almost no play. Ranged Assassins then, I don't think anyone's OP. Tracer and Vala, if you get Tassadar, are. Then, Gul'dan will probably stand out as the best overall ranged assassin to be right now. Bring great wave clear. And we got, the classic Li Ming, Falstad, always there. And Jaina is a good solid Hero League hero too. And Zul'jin's not too bad. Tons of raw DPS, but, pretty bad wave clear, no mobility. But he can be good in Hero League. Then we got the OK heroes, that they're all probably fine to run. I might even move these 3 down to underpowered, because I'm not super sure. They just seem almost no play, funnily enough. Because there's just... The thing with Assassins right now, right, is that you very rarely ban any of these. It's like, okay, sometimes you ban Vala, or sometimes you ban Gul'dan. But, or sometimes you sometimes ban these ones, but very rarely. So... Oftentimes, you're spending your bans and the picks on supports and warriors instead. So typically, it's you've got I'd say all of these ones, all these heroes that you can pick up fairly reasonably. So we very rarely move into these 3 as being necessary or see any play at all, because there's so many that you can actually pick from that aren't banned and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. And then Gaul sucks. Specialist then Nazebo, still awesome. Sergeant Hammer. So Fanis, Lost Vikings, Medivh, still good. Gazar rework, he seems similar enough power level, maybe a bit stronger. I'm not super sure. He's just not really that good at high level at all. Murky's okay. Probius seems extremely weak. And there you go, guys. That is the tier list for 2017 season number 1. I hope that your placement games went well or are going to go well. I hope you have some fun in this season. I'm going to have the placement matches probably starting up tomorrow on the channel. So I'll see you all then. Give a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. And yeah, that's it. I will also be doing a new thing this season too, before you leave, which is going to be a video where I basically update my talent builds. You can get a talent build for every single hero, just like a guide, a starting point. My favorite build for every hero on my Twitch page. I'm going to be going and updating them probably later today. So you can find me. You can find a video. I'll do a big video just going through and updating it all. Might be a bit dry, but hey, if you want to just a video that walks you through, you can stick it on while you're watching a game or something, or playing a game. That could be a fun thing. So stay tuned for that new thing I'm doing this season. So I hope you enjoy that too. And I'll catch you all very, very soon. And yeah, you can join me on the Road to Grandmaster when we start that up. Okay, guys. Bye-bye.